Brian lets Jason live on his property rent-free, as long as Jason runs shakedowns for him. Day 1. And Jason's already somebody's man. Rockstar dropped these people as separate bios. Brian, Cal, Raul, Boobie, like strangers. They're not. Brian's tied to Jason, Cal to both. So here's the honest answer. Yes, Rockstar's wired official relationships into these profiles, enough to sort the cast into distinct circles. The keys: Vice City, Raul's robbery crew. What Rockstar hasn't shown is how those circles connect, or become something you play. The relationships are confirmed, the system isn't, because once you line them up, a question falls out. These circles aren't the same size. One is about where Jason sleeps and who's watching the water. Another is about the big scores. A third is about the money and the people who get famous off it. And Jason and Lucia, they look like they sit somewhere in the middle of it. At the start, Jason's working for other people. He works for local drug runners in the Keys. That's his job. That's the world Rockstar drops him into. He's not running the operation. He's labor. And the guy he's labor for is Brian. The arrangement's simple. Brian houses Jason, and in return Jason handles shakedowns, leaning on people, collecting, while Brian keeps moving product through his boatyard. Look at what that single relationship bundles together. Shelter, work, muscle, a smuggling route. One connection, and Jason's got a roof and a rap sheet, both belonging to somebody else. Now, nobody said Jason owns that boatyard, or that there's some smuggling loop you'll grind. What Rockstar's shown is the dependency, not the mechanic. Hold on to that difference, because it comes back. Then there's Cal. Cal's the friend, Jason's friend, and Brian's associate, which already tells you this isn't three strangers, it's a closed loop. But Cal brings something the other two don't. He monitors Coast Guard communications. In a world built on moving product by water, someone tuned to the Coast Guard is a different kind of asset. That's not muscle and it's not shelter. That's information. So here's the keys, laid out. Brian gives Jason a place to sleep and work to do. Jason brings pressure on the street. Cal sits in the same circle, tuned to the water, shelter, labor, and information. 3 people, 1 working circle. And circle is my word for how it reads, not a faction Rockstar's confirmed. What's real is that the pieces fit. But look at the ceiling on all this. Shakedowns. Local product. Listening to a radio. This is the low end of the ladder. Small jobs, other people's orders. Which raises the obvious question the moment you see it. Who in this state is running the jobs that actually pay? Because somebody is, and he's looking for talent. His name's Raul. And Raul is everything the Keys circle isn't. Rockstar describes him as an experienced bank robber, not a small-time runner, a professional, and he's putting together a crew, chasing scores that keep getting bigger. That's the phrase that matters. Escalating scores. This isn't leaning on a dealer for cash. This is the kind of job that ends in a vault or a shootout. So you can feel the gravity here. You've got Jason down in the Keys, doing small, local work for other people. And somewhere in the same state, there's a guy who robs banks and is actively hunting for talent. Draw the line between those two facts and it almost draws itself. But here's the line I won't cross for you. Rockstar never says Raul recruits Jason, or Lucia, or anyone you'll play. Seeking talent is his description, not a job offer to the protagonists. The most tempting bridge in the whole Underworld, and the one still left blank. What Raul does confirm is that the ceiling is real. Above the shakedowns in the boatyard, there's a professional robbery world with bigger crews and bigger risk. But robbery is just one way money moves in a state like this, and it points at a bigger question. Where does illegal money end up once it's made? Because somewhere in Leonida, there's a whole operation that turns dirty cash into something that looks legal. That somebody is Boobie. If Jason shows you how small this world starts, Boobie shows you how big it gets, and the distance between them is the whole point. Rockstar lays out an empire, real estate, a strip club, a recording studio, legitimate businesses, the kind with signage and staff and a paper trail. Except the official material doesn't let you pretend the money's clean. Criminal cash is explicitly tied to the operation. The property, the club, the studio, that's what criminal money turns into when it's moved into businesses that look legitimate. Stop and feel how far we just moved. Down in the Keys, crime is a set of small local jobs, a shakedown, a pickup, a run. Up here, crime is an empire. It's buildings, it's nightlife, it's a business you could drive past and never guess. Same Underworld, opposite altitude. That jump, from scraping by to running criminal money through real estate and nightlife, is the single biggest reframe in Rockstar's whole cast, and they built it right into the descriptions. Now, you don't own any of this. There's no screen where you buy the club or run the real estate, whatever GTA's trained you to expect. What's real is more interesting anyway. This is where criminal money goes to grow up. Street cash in, legitimate-looking influence out. And influence is the word that cracks the next door open. Because an empire like this isn't just square footage and criminal cash. A strip club and a recording studio don't only move money, they move people, and they move attention. So who's standing inside Boobie's operation, turning all that infrastructure into something you can actually hear on the radio? His name's Dre'Quan, and he's the connective tissue. Dre'Quan works with Boobie, and Rockstar says he signed a group called Real Dimez to a label, Only Raw Records. Follow the thread. Boobie's got the studio, with criminal money tied to his operation, and Dre'Quan's the one putting artists on that label. Crime here didn't stop at real estate, it reached into the music. And who did he sign? This is where it gets sharp. Real Dimez aren't clean origin pop stars. Their history, in Rockstar's own description, runs through dealer shakedowns, street crime, the low end, and comes out the other side as music, income, and social media attention. Sit with that arc for a second, because it's the whole chain in one act. Somebody starts by shaking down dealers. That becomes money. That money becomes a record. That record becomes followers, plays, a public profile. Street crime, one circle over, turned into the thing that makes somebody famous. That's the function this circle completes, and it's brand new. The keys gave us access and information. Raul gave us risk. And Vice City, Boobie's empire with the music world wired into it, turns money into attention, criminal cash on one end, people the public actually knows on the other. 3 circles, not 4, not 8, 3. And no, none of this hands you a mission or a reputation meter. Dre'Quan is a partnership and a signing. Real Dimez's fame is backstory, not a follower count you'll grind. The attention is real inside the fiction, whether you can touch it isn't. But step back and look at what we've got. Access and information in the keys. Professional risk with Raul. Money and attention in Vice City. 3 circles Rockstar built one relationship at a time, and laid out side by side. They look almost too neat, which is the exact moment you have to stop and ask the hard question everything so far has been building toward. Each circle is real on its own, but is anything actually connecting them into a system you'll play? Or is it a brilliant set of people who just happen to share the same map? Here's where it all nets out, and it's better than a yes or a no. Every relationship I've walked you through is Rockstar's, not mine. Brian and Jason, Cal on the radio, Boobie's money and his businesses, Dre'Quan's signing, Raul and his crew. Those are the solid lines. Draw them in ink. What Rockstar hasn't drawn is the part that would make it a game, the wiring between the circles. Whether they run in an order, whether one turns on another, whether it's all a single network with somebody at the top. That's the question the whole map is pointing at, and it's still blank. Those lines you draw in pencil. And that gap isn't a letdown, it's the honest shape of the reveal. The people are real, the relationships are real. Whether they add up to a machine you can play is the one thing left to find out. Where does all of this leave Jason and Lucia? Rockstar frames them inside a criminal conspiracy that stretches across Leonida. That part's official. Everything after it is my read, offered with the alternative attached. The strongest current reading is that these two survive by moving between the circles we just mapped. The keys, Raul's crew, and Vice City. Trading on shelter, information, scores, money, and attention without belonging fully to any of them. Not one crew, a position between several. But the honest alternative is that these people stay separate, and Jason and Lucia only ever brush a couple of them. Both fit what we've actually been shown. Which is why the next date matters. Rockstar's extended look drops August 27th, 3 p.m. Eastern. That's when the pencil lines either get inked in or get erased. Until then, the map is real. The machine is still a maybe,